Hey guys, it's Jonathan from Total Brohammer, and as you can see, I'm playing the Empire again. So, someone asked me recently if bringing the Demigryph Knights non-halberd version was worth it against the Dwarves because of the extra armor piercing. So today I decided I would find out, and that was bringing them versus Reiksguard, which is what I usually bring. Alright, so let's go over the rest of my army here. I've went ahead and got Karl Franz on foot here to just provide some buffs and duke it out with, looks like we're fighting Grumbindle, the white dwarf over there on the dwarven side. I've also got a Celestial Wizard with Wind Blast, or is that Curse of the Midnight Wind? Let me see here. We'll pause it. He's got, and you should really be able to click on these guys, Curse of the Midnight Wind for the armor debuff and melee attack debuff, as well as Chain Lightning for some crazy magic damage. Alright, and for the rest of my army, I've got 4 Great Swords, I've got 2 Flagellants, I've got 3 Swordsmen over here, like I said, the 2 Demigryph Knights, and I've also got 1 Handgunner just for shits and giggles, and I don't really expect him to do anything, to be quite honest. So we'll go ahead and put it into high gear, into normal speed here, because as you see, the Dwarven player has kind of gone for a corner camp. Not really though, but I don't know why he's deployed so far back. But he's going to go ahead and move over to the crest of this hill. So his army consists of, looks like, 4 miners with blasting charges, 4 Longbeards, 2 groups of Slayers, 1 group of Iron Drakes, Trollhammer Torpedoes, like I said, Grumbindle the White Dwarf, and 3 Bugman's Rangers. He's also got a Bolt Thrower and a Cannon. So we're going to go ahead and kick it into 4 times here now that we got the army compositions out of the way. We started on opposite sides of the map, so we're just going to be forming up here and approaching. And at this point, I'm just trying to see what he has over here, and I decided I'm gonna start going ahead and moving up, seeing that he does indeed have artillery. So I'm gonna square up right here so that my army can engage properly, and we're gonna start approaching that hill. I got these Demigryph Knights in the forest over here, and these guys, I'm gonna get behind these trees right here to block as many cannon shots as I can. And he's gonna start shooting at some great swords, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop off a pretty devastating Chain Lightning over here. As you can see, it hurt these Longbeards pretty good. Did a little bit of damage to these Longbeards, but not the greatest one, but it was some okay damage. And it's a spell I like to use a lot. So we got some good damage in there. As you can see, he's shooting at Karl Franz, which I'm completely happy with. It revealed his Rangers. Also, Karl Franz is very armored, so that's not a lot of armor piercing, and he's on foot, so he's not a big target, and as you can see, barely any of these are hitting him. So I got my Celestial Wizard just hiding in the trees right here as my army approaches. Alright. So what I'm going to try to do here is, these blasting charges don't have great AP, so I'm going to try to bait out some charges with Franz, and I say that, but that actually did do quite a bit of damage. I'm going to pull these guys right into range and then pull them straight back out, and hope to get some charges, but the thing about it is they actually throw way farther than their range. Look how far away they're throwing that. Their range is way back there. But thankfully, it was so spread out that it did like almost no damage. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around and get a charge into him. And I'm fine with Karl Franz taking a little bit of damage, because he missed a lot of good blasting charges. Going to get a charge in here with my Demigryph Knights. And, you know, these guys have charge defense against large. They don't. So that wasn't the best charge there. I'm going to go ahead and drop another, Chain Lightning on this blob here. Gonna do some really good damage to these dwarves. It was a pretty good cast there, and it might go into my. Nope, looks like it just barely dodged my guys, but did a lot of damage to my opponents here. So as you can see, I've just engaged across the front line here. Got my great swords going over here to try and fight these Slayers, and I'm gonna be pulling my Flagellants back. Got some Flagellants fighting these Slayers over here, but I am gonna be pulling them back as well to get on these great swords, because Flagellants will absolutely be wrecked by Slayers, but great swords will absolutely wreck them. Over here, I'm a little bit too blobbed up, I admit, but now I'm pulling out my Demigryph Knights from charging at the front line, and am going to be pulling them around the flanks. My gunners don't really have an angle, so yeah, wasn't the greatest map to bring them on, to be honest. But yeah, I should have expected them to be on the hill. So as you can see, I pulled my great swords into these slayers and pull back my flagellants, and now I'm going to try to be sitting them around here. He's going to be retreating with the slayers, which is a great idea, but I'm fine with that because either he's going to retreat me into his Iron Drake torpedoes over here, or I'm just going to get back into his slayers here. And as you can see, those Iron Drakes are not doing a great job against these great swords. So I'm sending the Demigryph Knights around. Demigryph Knights got around over here, and I'm getting into his Buckman's Rangers over here. And as you can see, another really poor charge. Not doing a ton of damage. I think the lack of models... Yeah, so far in the battle, I gotta say, I'm not impressed with how the Demigryph Knights are performing here, even though they do have armor piercing. So I do get a good engagement over here with my guns. I'm shooting in the side of these longbeards. He's throwing, as you can see, Grumble the White Dwarf is defeating Karl Franz here. Karl Franz isn't the greatest lord. I still am too bunched up over here, but I have broken through his back line and am getting on his cannon here. So I have these flagellants and the Demigryph Knights going ahead and getting on these Iron Drakes. I'm just going to pull them through because the Slayers are chasing, which is getting me a lot of free hits with my great swords. So I'm going to be pulling the Demigryph Knights through, and they're going to get on these Buckman's Rangers, as well as shutting down that bolt thrower. As you can see, the Demigryph Knights, their low model count is just... I don't like them, guys. I don't like them. I feel like Reiksguard would have performed much better here. Let me see what their charge bonus is. Only 60. I think Reiksguard was like 80. Now I'm running with Karl Franz, because, you know, Karl Franz isn't going to be able to beat Grumble the Right Dwarf. Karl Franz isn't a great lord. He's great for about 30 seconds when you have all his buffs on, and then he's useless for about 3 minutes. So, not one of my favorite lords over here. But I am trying to get these gunners. I'm trying to draw them out and get these gunners to shoot them, but my opponent's not really going to fall for it. As you can see, the Demigryph Knights are just running around the back line, and their charges seem to be really lackluster, if you ask me, compared to like Reiksguard. Maybe it's just a bad engagement, so maybe they're just really tired or something. As you can see, I'm getting some good shots on Grumble. He's going to pop the smoke bomb, which is going to allow him to get into Karl Franz and lower his melee defense. Going to pop Stand Your Ground to get his melee defense back up to normal. He was bringing some Dwarfs over here, so I'm going to move these guys, thinking that he was going to come after him. It looks like they don't have a line of sight, so they're going to start approaching him. I wish they would not approach him. That's the bug that everyone's been talking about. When you give ranged units orders to shoot at somebody, if they can't shoot at them, they're supposed to stay still. They're not supposed to go and try to get closer to them. Or, well, they are, but they're not trying. There should be like a second ring right here, and that's as close as they will get. Like, there needs to be a maximum range that they'll approach to get closer, to try to get line of sight on a unit here. And they also just need to have better line of sights, because a lot of times they will have line of sight, but they will actually, the game will think that they don't, so they'll start approaching them, and even sometimes get into melee. So, a really annoying bug. Anyway, so I'm going to be pulling these guys back. Looks like these great swords all of a sudden got crumpled over here. They were doing really well, but I don't know what happened there. As you can see, you got Curse of the Midnight Wind going down over here to help these great swords and swordsmen out over here, and we are starting to get some mass routing across the lines here, and the dwarves are indeed going to give up here. The only ones who are willing to stay and fight are indeed the Slayers, as they are here to die. But yeah, Grumble beat Karl Franz. So Karl Franz I don't really like, even in this matchup. And yeah, I'm not cool with the Demigryph Knights. I don't feel like they perform quite as well as Reiksguard. I think just the extra models help so much, and the higher charge bonus as well. So yeah, Karl Franz is not great, and as well as these Demigryph Knights, not fans. And of course the handgunners, you can get them to work sometimes, but most of the time they do indeed have that bug, so it's hard to use them as well. But as you can see, the dwarves are all running off here, and my great swords are just finishing off this last Slayer, as they always fight to the death here. As you see, he takes down a great sword, and with his dying breath, he's about to get some chops off here, but there's actually no one in front of him, so maybe he won't get anybody. So let's go ahead and look at that breakdown here. Karl Franz with 4 kills here. Piece of garbage. Not a lord I'd like to bring, especially without healing. South Steel Wizard doing pretty good with 78 kills. We got our swordsmen just being fodder and there to hold the enemy, so they got decent kills. Flagellants, the same thing as the swordsmen. My great swords here, 156 kills. These guys were probably buffed by Franz, so that's the only way he's actually useful. And the 82 and 50 of the Demigryph Knights. Yeah, not impressed with Demigryph Knights. I think Reiksguard are probably a more cost-effective choice there, guys. But I hope that answers the question of whether you should choose Demigryph Knights or Reiksguard. And that's going to be all for this one, guys. This is John Don for Total Brohammer, signing out.